Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at kids who were suspended from school for dumb reasons. Have you ever been suspended from school before? If you were, you likely did something pretty bad. Back when I was at school, they only suspended you if you got into a fight or something major like that. But it seems nowadays, schools are willing to suspend pupils at the drop of a hat. Or in some cases, things even less traumatic than dropping a hat. But really guys, let's get into it, but first, subscribe and press the notification bell or you're suspended. Coming in at number 10 we have ballin'. Do you love sports? If so, you likely prove it by buying sports jerseys. Big fans may even get sports themed tattoos. And when you go to games, maybe you even paint your face or your body. Well, like many young boys in America, middle schooler Patrick Gonzalez loved American football. Well, like many young American boys, a middle schooler named Patrick Gonzalez loved basketball. He lived in Texas and supported the NBA team San Antonio Spurs. Well, this basketball-loving Texan decided to declare his love for the sport in a very interesting way. In 2012, the San Antonio Spurs made the playoffs. To celebrate, Patrick Gonzalez planned to get a very special haircut. That was carving reserve forward Matt Bonner into his hair. You may assume the school would never allow this, which is why Patrick's mom checked it with the school first. The school said that would be totally fine for Patrick to do. But when he did that, they changed their tune. They told Patrick he was suspended for having the haircut, and they said he'd have to wait for the hair to grow back before he could come back to school. Normally I would think this is kind of a normal reason for getting suspended, seeing as it's such a weird thing to do. But the fact his mom cleared it with the school means this is ridiculous. But don't feel too bad for Patrick. The story quickly made Texas news and Matt Bonner picked up the story. Once he learned of this, he sent Patrick playoff tickets. So Patrick's celebration for his favorite team being in the playoffs allowed him to actually go there. Sadly, they did lose to Miami Heat, but it was still an amazing experience for Patrick. And it's also very nice of Matt Bonner to get him tickets. Next up is paper pistol. So nowadays in America, one of the biggest problems in schools is people bringing in weapons. You have large isolated incidents, such as the Parkland incident. But in some dangerous inner city schools, you even have people simply bringing in dangerous weapons. It's totally reasonable that schools would want to discourage this and be very strict on it. But as is the case with many normal things, one person had to take it way too far and make it ridiculous. That is what one Philadelphia elementary school did. One day, a young elementary school girl was given a note on a piece of ripped paper. She was given the note by her grandfather, and it was simply a reminder. After reading the reminder, she put it in the school's trash can. But then another student took it out and showed their teacher. The teacher then said it looked like the shape of a firearm. That led the teacher to suspend the girl who brought this piece of note in. How crazy is it? This girl simply brought in a piece of ripped paper as a reminder and she got suspended for it. She didn't even rip the paper herself. That was just how her grandpa gave it to her. And also, who's the student who took this paper out of the bin to show the teacher? I'm pretty sure that student must have been the Randall of their school. Next up is maple leaf. So here is yet another ridiculous reason a middle schooler was kicked out of school. One day, a Virginia middle school student picked up a maple leaf on his way in. He was very young and was simply playing and looking at the leaf. But this leaf was green. Yep, you heard me right. And what does a green maple leaf look like to someone who's never seen the real thing? That's right, an illegal substance that shall not be named. The teachers thought he may be carrying pot, so they took him into counseling. He was totally confused and denied having any pot because, well, he didn't. So seeing as he was apparently lying to them, he was suspended. And despite them actually having the maple leaf and knowing it wasn't anything bad, they still suspended him. That's right, they kept him suspended after finding the leaf. During that time, he had to go to a different school and he had to get random pat-downs every single day at that new school. Afterwards, the guy left his Virginia middle school as it was getting ridiculous. And I'm personally glad he did, as that sounds like the craziest school on the planet. Whatever your views are on the devil's lettuce, you have to agree that this is totally crazy. Coming up next is the burp. If you've ever been in a classroom, you know that 13-year-old boys are not exactly mature. They make all kind of weird noises, shout, and do annoying Fortnite dances. And one 13-year-old from New Mexico was no different. One day in class, he burped. And if you think getting suspended for burping is ridiculous, then guess what happened to him? Not only was he suspended, he was also handcuffed, arrested, and taken to juvie. That's right, he burped just once during gym class. This prompted his teacher to call the police and they literally burst in and arrested the kid. The police must have been having a real slow day. Apparently this student was also strip searched. I think whoever did that needs to be taken to jail, not the kid. Anyway, as you can imagine, the parents filed a lawsuit against his school. It appears to still be ongoing, so they haven't won yet. But judging by how crazy this all sounds, if the judge has any sense, they'll award the parents some money. Coming up next is free hugs. If you walk down a high school hallway, you may see people kissing, hugging, and doing even more things. But none of this takes place at Jackson Heights Middle School in Florida. If you don't believe me, then ask one 8th grade girl named Ella. On the school playyard, Ella hugged her friend for quote, literally 1 second. That's right, these are 8th graders and clearly were not doing anything inappropriate. But that is not how the teachers and school saw it. As soon as they saw them hug for just 1 second, they suspended Ella from school. They even gave her friend detention even though they were the one getting hugged. Apparently Ella had harassed the fellow student by doing this. And while harassment is a big deal, this is getting ridiculous. In their defense, the school had said Ella had done this before. But my response is, who cares? I don't see anything wrong with two 8th graders hugging. Let me know whether you guys think this is ridiculous or not in the comments. Coming up next is Love Note. So we all know that you can't hug in schools, but surely writing your feelings down on a piece of paper can't hurt, right? Well, that is where you would be wrong. This one takes place in Florida as well, which apparently does not allow love. One day, a 4th grader was sent to his principal's office and threatened with harassment charges. What was his crime? Writing a love note to the 9-year-old girl he had a crush on. That's right, this 9-year-old had written horrific things, such as saying she was pretty and cute. Now, that would be one thing if the girl didn't like it, but she said she actually did like the note. She said she liked the boy and his hair. So really it seems like two young kids flirting. But the school said the note was unwanted. And apparently writing it caused taunting from other classmates. The logical thing would have just been to ask the kid not to write any more love notes. But instead, the principal threatened to call the cops and said he was harassing this girl. I don't understand how a 9-year-old can even harass someone. But it looks like American middle schools have gone absolutely insane. Next up is Potassium Trouble. So when it comes to your health, potassium levels are important. But you better be careful who you say that to. If you don't believe me, ask high school football player Jay Cook from Detroit. One day he was playing a game of football or soccer at his high school Bloomfield Hills. That was when one day one of his teammates came down with a cramp. Jay yelled, "Get that guy a banana." This is because bananas contain potassium, which is known for getting rid of cramps. But as the other player was black, Cook was accused of being very rude. First, he was sent off the field from the game. Now, you may assume this was simply a misunderstanding, but even when all of his teammates came to his defense, even those who were black, they still did not allow him to come back to the sport. They suspended Cook from all future football games that year. And it wasn't just football, they banned him from attending any sporting events at the school. I think this school really needs to learn the benefits of potassium. But seriously, how ridiculous is this? It would be okay if it was a simple misunderstanding and when his teammates came to his defense, they understood. But this school went straight up crazy and banned him from any sporting events for the entire year. Next up is Not So Jolly Rancher. The purpose of candy is to bring happiness and joy to kids. Well, as was the case for one 3rd grader in Texas, it got him suspended. One day, a 3rd grader in a Texas school brought in some green Jolly Ranchers and began to eat them, but he was promptly suspended and given a week's detention. When people asked why the school was acting so crazy, they said they were following a state law that prohibits students from having junk food in school. But don't you think it's crazy to suspend a student for a week for just having some candy? I didn't even realize this was a state law in Texas. If you guys are from Texas, let me know if you're allowed to bring junk food into school or not. If you're not, then I really do feel bad for you. Check out the poll in the top right corner and vote for the craziest reason kids were suspended from school. I think it's the piece of paper, as that is totally ridiculous. If you guys want more amazing videos, check out my second channel. There's some videos on there which include my face and also some school hacks to help you not get suspended. But as always, thanks for watching, check out some more videos on screen right now, leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.